A sharp thud shakes the ceiling above me. Then silence thickens like fog, pressing against the boarded walls until I can hear nothing but my own heartbeat stumbling in the dark. I sit on the edge of the mattress, cold springs biting through the thin fabric, wondering if today is another day they pretend I don't exist, or another day they remember to fear me. The single bulb flickers, revealing the stains on the peeling wallpaper. Each mark a calendar I never meant to keep. Somewhere beyond this room, morass-clipped footsteps echo, and Colin's heavy shuffle follows, both reminders of a world I'm allowed to hear but never touch. I open my journal and write the sentence I wish someone else could read. If you find this, I'm still here. Then I pause, pen trembling, because even I'm no longer sure what here means. Morning arrives without sunlight, only the faint hum of the house waking above me. I sit on the floor, listening to Mara move through the kitchen with her quick, precise rhythm. The same rhythm she uses when she wants the world to believe everything is normal. Colin's slow footsteps follow, hesitant as always, like he's unsure which version of himself to be today. I try to piece together fragments of their voices, but the walls swallow most of their conversation. My stomach growls, unsure if breakfast is something they'll remember or forget. I press my hand against the cold floorboards and imagine the earth beneath them, the real world so close it feels like a cruel joke. I whisper the same promise I whisper every morning. Someone will find me. And even though it sounds impossible, I hold on to it because it's the only thing keeping me from disappearing inside myself. I press my ear to the vent, hoping for a sentence, a hint, anything that tells me what kind of day waits on the other side of this door. Mara's voice rises, sharp and clipped, something about risk and keeping things contained, while Colin mutters responses too soft to understand. I close my eyes and imagine what she thinks she's containing. Me, her daughter, someone she once held in warm arms before fear twisted everything. The memory stings like a sudden wound. My journal waits beside me, pages filled with pieces of myself I'm scared to lose. I think about writing again, but instead I find myself staring at the boards sealing the window, wondering if the world outside looks anything like the fragments I remember. A wind passes through the walls, and for the first time in weeks, I smell rain. It feels like a sign, even if I don't know of what. I sit with my back against the door, feeling every vibration as Mara's footsteps move closer, then farther, then stop altogether like she's listening for something inside this room. I hold my breath, afraid even the sound of my heartbeat might give her a reason to open the door in one of her moods. Colin mutters something in the background, but Mara's voice slices over his like a blade. The tension seeps through the wood and settles in my bones. I trace my fingers over the floor, following the grooves carved from years of pacing, like a map of every moment I've tried to stay sane. A gust of wind rattles the boards on my window, and for a second, I imagine they might loosen. I picture myself pushing them free and leaning out into real air. The thought burns bright enough to chase away the fear, even if only for a heartbeat. I whisper to the empty room, I want to be here forever. The house settles into its strange afternoon quiet, the kind that makes time stretch into something unrecognizable. I pace from one wall to the other, counting each step like it's the only structure I have left. Sometimes I imagine I'm walking somewhere else, a forest path, a sidewalk, anywhere the air doesn't taste stale. My journal lies open on the mattress, waiting for more of me, but I feel too full and too empty to write. I stop at the window, laying my palm against the cold boards. A faint tremor from the wind shivers through them, and I shut my eyes, pretending it's the outside brushing against me. Somewhere beyond these walls, people live without thinking about it. Someone wakes up and chooses where to go. Someone laughs. Someone breathes fresh air. I wonder if anyone would care if they knew I was trapped here. And then, like a spark I can't explain, I think maybe someone will. The trash bag rustles in Colin's hands, and I freeze, watching through the thin crack beneath the door as his shadow hesitates. Every week he takes the bags out, and every week I imagine slipping something inside. Something small enough that Mara won't notice, but loud enough that someone else might. Today, the impulse burns hotter. I reach under my mattress and pull out a torn journal page, the ink smudged from my fingers. My heart pounds as I fold it again and again, until it's barely thicker than a leaf. When Colin passes the door the second time, slower than before, I push the page toward the gap. His foot stops. For a breathless moment, neither of us moves. Then he nudges the bag slightly closer, just enough for the page to disappear inside. He doesn't look at me, but the tremor in his exhale tells me he knows exactly what he's doing, and exactly how dangerous it is. I sit on the floor long after the footsteps fade, replaying the moment over and over. Colin didn't speak. He didn't look at me. But he shifted the bag, guiding it to swallow the page like he wanted it to escape as badly as I did. That tiny slip of paper feels like a lifeline I finally found the strength to throw. I walk to the window boards and press my forehead to the cold wood, trying to steady my breathing. Somewhere outside, that trash bag will be hauled away like every other forgotten piece of this house. The thought terrifies me. What if it gets destroyed? What if no one ever sees it? But beneath the fear is a stubborn thread of hope, thin but unbroken. I whisper into the boards, "Please let someone find it." My voice cracks, and for the first time in a long time, it sounds like a prayer. Hours pass before I hear the truck. The low rumble vibrates through the floorboards, and I crouch beside the vent, straining to hear anything that tells me the bag, and the page inside it, made it out of this house. The clatter of bins outside makes my pulse race. I imagine the page crumpled among scraps of food, old newspapers, pieces of a life I've never seen but know too well. I close my eyes and picture someone's hands opening that bag. They wouldn't know it, but they'd be holding a part of me. A small part, but real. The thought sends a shiver through me, fear mixed with a dangerous kind of hope. Mara's voice erupts downstairs, sharp enough to cut through the walls, and I scramble back. She must have heard something. I sit perfectly still, hardly breathing, praying she doesn't come upstairs. Not now. Not today. Somewhere out there, a stranger lifts a trash bag and tears it open. They probably expect old food or broken things, not a page covered in frantic handwriting. I imagine their confusion, their curiosity, their decision to upload it instead of throwing it away. I picture them typing. Found this in the trash. Real or fiction? The idea feels unreal. Almost too big to fit inside my chest. If even one person reads it, just one, then I'm not invisible anymore. I sit cross-legged on the floor, my journal open on my lap, staring at the half-written sentence I started before everything happened. My hands shake as I pick up the pen again. Suddenly, the room doesn't feel quite as small. The air feels a little less heavy. Maybe it's nothing. Maybe it's everything. I write the simplest words I can manage. I'm trying. Night settles slowly, creeping into the corners of the room until everything feels carved from shadow. I pace again, unable to stay still, as my mind races with possibilities. Someone has the page now. Someone might read it tonight, or tomorrow, or never. But it's out there, living a life beyond these walls. I imagine a stranger's eyes following the lines of my handwriting, wonder filling their face as they try to understand where the words came from. I press my hand to the door, feeling the cool wood beneath my palm. For years, this room has been the end of every possibility. Now it feels like the beginning of something I can't name. I whisper into the darkness, "Please. Please let them see me." The silence that follows feels different, not empty, but waiting. Evan reads the uploaded page 3 times before he even exhales. He sits back in his chair, the glow of the screen turning the room into a dim cocoon as he whispers the words out loud. "If you find this, I'm still here. Something about the handwriting, uneven, scared, desperate, hooks him deeper than he wants to admit. He scrolls through the comment thread. Jokes, speculation, people calling it a hoax. But he doesn't feel that way. He feels the tremble beneath the words, the quiet plea woven into each line. His heartbeat picks up as he leans closer, searching for anything that could hint at who wrote it. A stray detail, a clue, something forgotten. The page feels too personal, too raw to be fiction. He grabs a notebook and starts writing down every sentence, every comma, every smudge, knowing it's irrational but unable to stop. "Who are you?" he whispers, as if the page might answer him. Evan prints the page and spreads it on his desk beside dozens of scribbled notes. His walls are already cluttered with maps and message board screenshots, but now he feels the urge to rearrange everything. He traces the handwriting with one finger, trying to imagine the person behind it. Not just scared, cornered, someone who's been silent too long. He rereads the phrase, "I won't be here forever," and feels a prickling under his skin, like the writer is speaking directly to him. He checks metadata, searches for similar posts, digs through obscure forums. Nothing. Whoever uploaded it left no trail. That only strengthens his resolve. For hours he works in the soft hum of his apartment, coffee cooling beside him as he sifts through digital shadows. The deeper he goes, the more he knows this isn't a game or a prank. Someone needs help, and he might be the only one who realizes it. Lena lies awake, listening to the distant creak of the house as the wind pushes against the walls. She can't stop thinking about the page. Somewhere out there, someone might be holding it right now, maybe reading it, maybe caring. It's strange, terrifying, and comforting all at once. Mora's footsteps pass by the door, slower than usual, like she senses something has shifted. Lena curls tighter beneath her thin blanket, praying Mara doesn't connect any missing detail to her. The air feels heavier tonight, filled with unspoken danger. But beneath it, something else pulses, a tiny ember of hope refusing to dim. Lena grips her journal, wishing she could whisper through the pages to whoever found her words. "Please don't forget me." She doesn't know that someone already hasn't. That Evan is wide awake, searching for her, in a world she hasn't seen in years. Evan digs deeper into the mystery, cross-referencing obscure local news, archived records, even missing persons reports. He's not sure what he's looking for, but he'll know it when he sees it. The tone in Lena's words, though he doesn't know her name yet, sounds like someone trapped in a place that doesn't want to be found. Hours pass as he follows lead after lead until his eyes burn and his notes stack higher. He finally pauses, rubbing his forehead, when a thought hits him. This wasn't posted by the writer. Someone else found it. Which means the original journal is still out there, still being written. That thought sends a chill through him. Whoever she is, she's alive. She's waiting for someone to see her. And without knowing why, Evan decides aloud, "I'm not stopping." The next morning, Evan wakes with a start, his mind still wrapped around the words from the page. He grabs his notebook and flips through his scribbled records, circling details he might have missed before. He logs onto the forum again and refreshes the thread. New comments appear, people laughing, arguing, speculating. But then one stands out. I found another page. Evan's heart slams against his ribs. He clicks the post, scanning the newly uploaded image of a second torn sheet. Same handwriting, same voice, same fear hidden between the lines. But now, more details. A hint about a boarded window. Something about footsteps. Evan grabs his jacket, adrenaline surging. Whoever is uploading these pages doesn't know what they've uncovered, but he does. This isn't just a mystery anymore. It's a cry for help, and he's already too far in to turn back. Lena wakes to the sound of Mara arguing downstairs, her voice sharp and frantic in a way that sends a cold ripple through the walls. Something is wrong. different from the usual tension that hangs in the air like smoke. Lena presses her ear to the door, but she can only make out fragments. "You're slipping. Too much risk. Can't let anything get out." Each word lands like a stone in her stomach. She backs away and sits on the floor, clutching her journal, suddenly aware of how exposed she feels. Colin's softer voice tries to calm Mara, but there's an edge of fear in it Lena hasn't heard before. She senses the shift spreading, an unraveling that started the moment her words left this house. She doesn't know what Mara suspects, but she knows danger is rising. And yet, beneath the dread, something unexpected sparks. If Mara is afraid, maybe the outside world is getting closer. Evan can't shake the feeling that the second page means something urgent. He spreads both pages across his desk and circles repeated words, phrases, anything resembling a clue. A phrase jumps out at him. The boards never let the rain in. Something about it feels local, like it belongs to a specific kind of old rural house. He searches maps, property listings, old records, narrowing things down in desperate little circles. Every detail makes Lena, though he still doesn't know her name, feel more real, more close, more in danger. The comments online keep growing, most people treating it like entertainment, but Evan refuses to let her become part of some digital curiosity. He hunches forward, determination tightening in his chest. Somewhere out there, this girl is living the words he's reading. And he knows now, without question, he has to find her before someone else silences her for good. Lena hears Mara's footsteps storm up the stairs, each step pounding like a warning. She scrambles back to her mattress, stuffing her journal under it just as the doorknob rattles violently. "Why aren't you answering me?" Mara shouts, her voice carrying a frantic edge that chills Lena's blood. She presses herself against the wall, silent. Mara's breathing grows louder. She pounds her palm against the door once, twice, 3 times, then falls silent. The stillness is worse than the yelling. Colin's voice comes from farther down the hall, gentle, pleading. Mara snaps back at him, something about signs and things missing. Lena's heart races. She knows those missing things are pages, pieces of herself now drifting through the world. She curls her fists to keep them from shaking. Mara's fear feels dangerous, sharp, unpredictable. The house feels less like a prison now and more like a ticking bomb. The second page spreads quickly online, and Evan watches as commenters point out tiny overlooked details. Phrases, scratches, even the shape of the handwriting. He gathers them all, pulling threads together until a clearer picture begins to emerge. His walls fill with notes, and he pins the 2 scanned pages side by side, studying them like they're the last pieces of a puzzle. He zooms in, noticing something near the margin, a faint smear, like dirt or ash. It feels real, like a fingerprint left behind. His pulse quickens. He calls a friend who knows how to track anonymous uploads, asking for help without revealing too much. On the other side of the world, Lena sits alone, listening to distant thunder. She feels the house vibrating with Mara's distrust. She doesn't know someone is fighting for her already. She doesn't know she has been found in a way that matters. By nightfall, the storm breaks over the house, lightning flashing against the boards of Lena's window. She stands in the center of her room, staring at the door as if expecting it to burst open. Mara has been silent for hours, which scares her more than the yelling. Silence means plotting. Silence means danger in new shapes. The walls groan with the wind, and Lena imagines the outside world just beyond them. Wet, cold, alive. She closes her eyes and breathes deeply, trying to steady her thoughts. She whispers the same words she wrote in her journal. "I'm trying." Somewhere far away, Evan refreshes the forum again, searching for any new clue. And across town, Detective Vance reads a late-night report about an anonymous post gaining attention. Without knowing why, she feels a prickle of intuition. Like a thread tugging her toward something hidden. Something waiting. Lena wakes to the sound of something unusual, a device chiming faintly through the wall. It takes her a moment to understand what she's hearing. Then she remembers. Last night, Colin passed through the hallway with his old work tablet tucked under his arm. He must have set it down nearby, maybe even forgotten it. She inches toward the crack beneath the baseboard where thin beams of light slip through. The hum is faint but steady, like a heartbeat she hasn't heard before. Curiosity pulls her forward, hope nibbling at her fear. She lies on her stomach, eye pressed to the thin gap, and sees a soft blue glow spilling across the hallway floor. Her chest tightens. She hasn't seen a screen in years. She whispers, almost afraid of the sound of her own voice. Please, let it be close enough. For the first time, possibility doesn't feel like a fantasy. It feels like a hand reaching back. The tablet chimes again, louder this time, like it's calling for her. Lena holds her breath and stretches her arm under the crack, fingertips straining toward the glow. She can't reach it, just barely too far, but the change in sound tells her something else. It's connected to the outside world. Messages, notifications, life happening in real time. She pulls her hand back and presses her forehead to the floor, imagining the world inside that device. People laughing, writing, arguing. People choosing things. Freedom. Her heart hammers wildly as she realizes this might be her only chance to see what's beyond these walls. She whispers to herself, there has to be a way. And for the first time in years, she feels the unmistakable heat of defiance. If her words made it outside once, maybe something can come back in. She refuses to let the moment slip away. Not now. Evan's pulse spikes as he reads a new comment in the thread, someone claiming they've spotted a pattern between the torn pages. He leans close to the screen, his ink-stained notebook open beside him, scribbling connections faster than he can think them. He zooms in on the uploaded image and notices something subtle. A faint indentation, like the writer pressed onto the page while leaning against rough wood. A wall, a board. He pulls up photos of old rural houses and compares textures, plank widths, paint aging. Something in the back of his mind clicks. He jumps between maps, property listings, and satellite images until he narrows it down to a cluster of isolated homes surrounded by woods. His heart pounds. This is the closest he's ever been to an answer. He whispers into the quiet, I'm coming for you, whoever you are. And for the first time, the words feel like a promise. The house grows quiet, too quiet. Lena presses her ear to the door and hears Mara speaking softly, urgently, as if planning something. Colin answers in a broken whisper. Something heavy shifts in Mara's tone, a hard edge that freezes Lena's blood. She moves back slowly, knowing nothing about Mara's silence is safe. She looks toward the window boards, then at the gap near the floor, then at her journal. This room has always held her in place, but suddenly every corner feels like a threat closing in. She kneels and pulls her journal close, flipping to a fresh page. Her hands shake, but she writes anyway, pouring everything inside her onto the lines. Every fear, every hope, every thought she's never spoken aloud. If anything happens tonight, she wants the world to have more than scraps. She wants someone to know she fought. Night settles again, thicker than before. Lena sits by the door, listening to the storm of silence brewing outside. Then, faintly, she hears the tablet chime once more. A notification. A message. A door to the world tapping on her prison. She inches closer and presses her eye to the crack again. The glow is brighter now, spilling like a path toward freedom. Her breath trembles. She knows she has to try. She wedges her fingers into the gap, pushing harder than before. Splinters scrape her skin, but she doesn't stop. She stretches until her muscles burn, just barely brushing the corner of the device. She whispers, voice breaking, "Please, just a little closer." Hope surges through her with painful force. Somewhere miles away, Evan refreshes the page again. Somewhere in a quiet office, Vance sits upright, sensing something awakening. And in that dark hallway, Lena reaches again. The tablet finally shifts, just enough for Lena's fingertips to hook its edge. Her breath catches. She pulls, slowly at first, terrified the slightest sound might alert Mara. The device slides a fraction closer, dragging across the wooden floor with a whisper that echoes like a shout to her ears. She freezes, listening. Silence, no footsteps, no voice. She keeps pulling until the corner slips under the baseboard, and she can wrap her fingers around it. The moment her palm closes over the cold metal, tears sting her eyes. It feels unreal, like holding a piece of the world she was never meant to touch again. She presses the power button. The brightness is blinding. Her heart stumbles. Messages flash across the lock screen. Notifications, names she doesn't know, a world she remembers only in dreams. Lena lifts the tablet to her chest, trembling. For the first time in years, she is touching freedom. Evan opens a link someone posted beneath the second page. It leads to a tiny local forum, barely active. Mostly old messages from towns scattered around rural areas, but one post stands out. A blurry photo of a trash bag torn open near a landfill, with a note reading, "More pages found today." Same writing. Evan's pulse kicks hard. He scrolls further. Someone uploaded another image. It's just a corner of a page, almost unreadable, but the handwriting matches. He jots coordinates, comparing the surroundings to the satellite images he collected earlier. The pieces begin connecting in quick, painful clicks. A secluded property. Woods thick enough to hide anything. A house far from the road. He knows now this isn't coincidence. It's a trail. A real one. And whoever wrote those pages is running out of time. Evan grabs his jacket, heart pounding. "I'm coming," he mutters, no longer a promise, now a mission. Lena wipes dust off the screen and tries to unlock the tablet. The password prompt taunts her, 4 digits. She whispers, guesses based on scraps of memory. Birth dates, anniversaries, numbers Colin used to mutter while fixing things. Every attempt fails. Panic edges into her breathing. This chance can't vanish now. She sets the tablet aside and listens, desperate for a clue. From downstairs, Mara's voice cuts through the house like a blade. "Where did you put it?" Lena's heart slams. She knows exactly what Mara is looking for. Footsteps thunder up the stairs, and Lena scrambles to hide the tablet beneath her blanket, just as a shadow stops at her door. Mara's silence is suffocating. Lena curls around the hidden device, pulse roaring in her ears. She doesn't have long. She whispers into the dark, "Please, someone, hurry." Evan drives for hours, weaving through dark roads swallowed by thick forest. He follows the coordinates he mapped earlier, headlights cutting narrow slices through the night. The deeper he goes, the more isolated everything becomes. No streetlights, no houses, just endless trees pressing close. But his instinct won't let him stop. He repeats the clues in his mind like a mantra. Boards, footsteps, trash bags, rain. Somewhere in these woods, a house holds a girl who has been whispering into torn pages. He tightens his grip on the wheel and pushes forward. The signal on his phone weakens, but he keeps going. Meanwhile, Detective Vance sits at her desk, staring at the same posts Evan has been tracking. Something about them feels wrong. She stands, grabs her coat, and steps out into the night. 2 strangers heading the same direction, toward a truth ready to break open. Thunder shakes the house as Mara finally snaps. Lena hears her mother's voice explode into a fury downstairs, accusing, panicked, unraveling. Colin tries to calm her. But Mara's rage spills over, wild and unpredictable. Lena clutches the tablet, trembling. She can feel the danger rising like a storm tide. Mara's footsteps slam onto the stairs. Lena backs into the corner of her room, breath jagged. The first kick hits the door so hard the hinges rattle. "Open it!" Mara screams, her voice cracking with madness. Lena sobs silently, curling around the tablet as though shielding a child. Another kick shakes the frame. She doesn't know if the door will hold. Outside, Evan's car speeds closer through the forest. Detective Vance follows another route, lights flashing. The world is finally coming for her. But inside the house, Mara is coming first. The doorframe cracks under Mara's final kick, splintering like a bone giving way. Lena cries out without meaning to, curling tighter around the tablet as wood dust showers onto her hair. Mara's ragged breathing fills the hallway, a wild, frantic rhythm that echoes through the walls. Colin shouts something, begging her to stop, but his voice sounds far away, like it's drowning under years of silence. Lena's pulse races hard enough to hurt. Just when she thinks the door will break, thunder booms outside, shaking the house. Tires crunch on gravel, a sound Lena barely remembers but instantly recognizes as another life approaching. Mara freezes. For the first time, fear twists across her voice instead of fury. She whispers, "Who's here?" Everything holds still. Lena, the house, the storm, waiting for the moment that will change everything. And outside, two sets of headlights cut through the rain toward the truth. Sure. Unity way. Evan sprints through the rain, mud splashing under his shoes as he races toward the house. He doesn't know what waits inside, only that every second matters. Detective Vance calls out behind him, ordering him to stay back. But he barely hears her over the storm. As he reaches the porch, he sees the door hanging crooked on its hinges. His chest tightens. Something terrible has already happened. Vance catches up, gun drawn, her voice steady despite the chaos. "Step aside," she says. But there's a softness in her tone that tells him she understands exactly why he's here. Together, they step into the house. The air is thick with fear, anger, and something older. Years of secrets rotting inside the walls. From upstairs comes a crash, followed by Mara's broken shout. Vance signals Evan to stay low. The storm outside rages, but it's nothing compared to the one inside. Mara hears the front door open and screams Lena's name. A sound so raw it feels like it splits the house. Lena flinches, every instinct telling her to hide deeper, but footsteps thunder up the stairs, and there's no time left. Mara shouts accusations, her words breaking apart, her control shattering like glass. She slams her shoulder against the damaged door again, determined to reach Lena first. But another voice cuts through the chaos. Calm, firm, impossible to ignore. "Police, step back." Detective Vance's voice freezes the moment. Lena covers her ears as Mara shrieks, refusing, unraveling completely. Colin collapses against the wall, sobbing. The hallway erupts with movement. Vance pushing forward, Mara resisting, Evan calling out, "I'm here to help her." Lena can't see any of it, but she feels it, the shift, the change. The world finally cracking open around her. Then comes the sound she's been dreaming of for years. The door breaking inward, not outward. The door finally gives way with a splintering groan. Vance bursts in first, scanning the room with sharp, practiced eyes. Lena freezes, unable to move, unable to breathe. Every muscle locked between terror and disbelief. Vance softens immediately, lowering her voice. "Lena, you're safe now." Hearing her name spoken by someone who isn't her mother shatters something inside her. She covers her mouth as sobs flood through her. Evan pushes into the doorway behind Vance, stopping short when he sees Lena. Small, trembling, clutching the tablet like a lifeline. He whispers, "It's you." Lena blinks through tears at the stranger who somehow feels familiar. Mara's screams echo from the hall as other officers restrain her, her world collapsing. Lena's world, for the first time, expands. Vance kneels beside her, offering a hand. "Let's get you out of here." And Lena finally nods. The front door opens, and for the first time in years, real air touches Lena's skin. She steps out slowly, guided by Vance on one side and Evan hovering protectively on the other. The rain has softened into a quiet drizzle, cool drops landing on her cheeks like tiny blessings. She closes her eyes and lifts her face toward the sky, breathing in the world she thought she'd never see again. The police lights paint the wet ground in shifting colors, but all Lena feels is the expanding space around her, the vastness she had almost forgotten existed. Evan stands beside her, unsure if he should speak, until Lena turns toward him with a trembling smile. "You found me," she whispers. His eyes fill with emotion. "You wrote." "I just listened." Behind them, Mara is led away, Colin sobbing into his hands. But Lena keeps looking forward, toward light, toward freedom, toward a life finally her own.